Hello, welcome back to the Off-Grid family. Today I'm doing a review of an item I've got a few of, which is the Parkside clamp from Lidl's. I've got multiple of them and I'd just like to show you the positives and negatives of this device. But before I get on, I'd like to thank Paul, our patron. If you'd like to join him and become a patron, the link is in the description. Also, I'm trying to get to 10,000 subs, so I'd really appreciate it if you could sub and like if you like the video. Anyway, let's get on. So, are the WorkZone clamps any good? Let's find out. Okay, so this is from Aldi. This is their WorkZone sort of own brand stuff. $6.99. I believe it was cheaper than this. I think that they were trying to get rid of stuff, and I think it was about $4.99 perhaps. And I have a few of these. Let me show you. This one I added some handy helpers to that came off of something that broke years before, so it just became my soldering handy helper bit. This one is just used for holding up bits of tech that I'm working on at the time. That's coming soon. So let's have a look at it. And then luckily enough, because I've done a lot of use with those, I've had those ones for maybe 2 or 3 years maybe. I've used them quite a lot. So I've got quite a lot of experience with these and I can tell you the pros and cons. Look at it, all nice and shiny. Forgot they came like this. Looks nice. Okay, so first things first. Unscrew this. And then screw this back in. And there you go. That's your basic thing. Everything moves pretty nicely. And for all intents and purposes, it works pretty well. But I will tell you the positives and negatives, as always. One thing I liked is the rubber bits are removable, and below it you've got some metal clamps, so you've actually got soft for whatever and solid if you need it. But let's talk negatives. There are quite a few negatives with this, and I use them enough, even with the negatives, to have warranted buying another one. There's 2 major negatives. Number 1, never do this up too tight, because this bit just splits all the way down. It's like a cast iron or cast metal, and it's very, very fragile. Very like what's the word? I can't remember. Basically what I'm trying to say is it literally is very easily breakable with certain forces, and by tightening this up too much it just breaks. So but you still have to put quite a bit of tension on it. I was probably being a bit too heavy-handed with it, but that is something that I noticed very early on with one of them. Second thing is these are designed for suction, so they suck onto surfaces. Let me find you a surface for it to stick to. Okay, so here's one of my project boxes with a plastic lid, and what happens is, let me tighten this. Oh, right, this one won't even do it. This one won't even allow me to lock it in, so it's not actually going to stick at all. Will it let me do it without that? Nope. It seems to be wanting. It seems to have like been put on upside down or something. Let me just flip it now. There we go. Right. Okay. All right. So I had to snap a bit inside to get it to work. Right. If we pull it down now, it should stick pretty hard, and it works pretty well, right, for about a month or so. And then after that it just stops working. It just stops sticking to things, and the suction just goes completely like that. That's actually already gone, even though it's supposed to still be stuck. If you have a look, these 2 corners are sucked down properly, whereas this corner isn't, and I noticed that with all of them, not just this one, which was a bit knackered. So if you want a specific suction vice, I would stay well clear of this one. This one is not, not any good at staying sucked down as such. I might do a test where I have it on something and see how long it lasts there, but at the moment I don't want to scare the hell out of everyone by leaving it and then letting it fall off something and scaring everyone. But yeah, so as a suction vice, although it looks like it's doing its job at the moment, it just loses suction, and I'm talking sometimes 2 minutes later, sometimes 20 minutes later, and then as it goes on, even if you clean up the bottoms of these ones, after a while they just don't suction at all. Like this one lost its power to suction within a couple of days. And I thought I'd got it too messy underneath, so I cleaned it all up and I washed it and so on. But they just stopped. I don't know why. They just stopped getting their suction. So yeah, as a suction vice, oh, there you go. That one's already stopped being sucked. And if you have a look, it's still all, it's this corner. They just, one corner each time will just lose its suction. The second that happens, that all the air escapes, or all the air rushes in, actually, if it's suction, isn't it? Anyway, so yeah, as a suction vice, these are rubbish. I would not advise buying one at all, you know. But that said, as a vice that's got a good base and the actual rubber on it is quite non-slip, so it actually works quite well as a little vice for, as I say, doing bits of your soldering, having this here with your handy helpers and having it for soldering, or having it to hold light things. It works really well. But there are many better ones out there. But you know, as I say, this full price is £6.99, and it is made of metal, it is made of rubber, it is quite heavy duty for what it is. So how much complaining can you do that certain bits don't work on it for that sort of price? Still not cheap, as I say, but for what it is quite good value. However, for the suction side of things, please don't buy it if you're thinking of actually using it as a suction vice. There you go. I actually saw that one. Hang on, I wonder if we can move this. You can see it in the light. You can see the light warp. Let me do it. Yeah, it's just rubbish. Literally a couple of seconds. Now I'm obviously using my finger. I'm not using any actual pressure on it. But you just notice that it will suddenly just lose its suction. There you go. Just went then. It just loses its suction. I think you can hear it. So let me... No. Okay, so randomly it will just lose its suction, as we've said. That is the main drawback. The vice grips are actually pretty strong for what they are. One thing I had with one of them, which one is it? It's this one here, look. It all came undone. So now when you're unscrewing it, you unscrew it. In fact, I'll show you. And I'm unscrewing, but nothing's actually happening. And then you have to pull it apart. You know, so as I say, for a cheap set of, well, cheap vice, it's okay. Clamp, sorry. It's not the best thing in the world, and they brought out another set. Hang on, let me show you. And because I don't have a lot of money, I bought this as well, right? Because I wanted this, which is exactly the same sort of brand and make, you know. And this was WorkZone as well. And I wanted this for holding my camera, so I could have it on the back of a chair or whatever, and I could have the camera being held up. And this one did exactly the same. This one's split all the way down, and I wasn't even tightening this one up too much. So it's obviously a manufacturing problem with this kind of, you know, this kind of vice. Would I advise buying it? Yes, I would. If you are using it for the small things that I've said, you know, soldering and things like that, and holding, you know, just I have little circuit boards in them sometimes, so I'll have it open. Hang on. And I will have it so that it's holding it like that, so I can actually populate boards and solder to them. And it's good, you know. There's no way I'm pressing this side hard enough to make this thing fall over with a soldering iron or anything like that, you know. So for that kind of situation, it works really well. So final thoughts. If you're using it for small things and you don't need the suction side of things, go for it. Otherwise, steer clear, buy a different one, because there's plenty of cheap ones out there to buy. Okay, so there you go. If you want it for small things, then you're okay. Anything larger, obviously, if you need it to suck to anything, like suction to anything, I wouldn't bother with it. You know, it just loses suction way too quick to make it a useful feature. But because of its weight, it is okay for the smaller things like soldering, etc. But I'll leave that in your hands. Anyway, if you haven't subbed yet, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. See you again next time. Bye for now.